This one's a good one to get you pumped up for a meeting.
Are you absolutely sure about that?
Yeah, see if you can hit this note right here.
Okay.
That's pretty inspiring, isn't it?
We're live on YouTube.
Woohoo!
Commissioners, are we ready? I believe we are. Good morning. I'd like to call to order the Sweetwater County Board of County Commissioners meeting for this Tuesday, December 1st, 2020. I'd like to make a note that a quorum is present. Also, I would like to notify the public will be able to comment immediately following the public hearing presentation and also during public comment section of the agenda by calling 307-872-3891 or by sending comments ahead of time via email. Commissioners, please stand and join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States
of
America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First order of business today, Commissioners, is approval of the agenda. And Commissioners, your thoughts?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Shanefield.
I would like to make a request to remove tab H from the agenda. We've had a few things come up and I think that there needs to be some further discussion, potentially in executive, about this.
Thank you. We've had a request. Is there commissioners okay with this?
I would be.
Okay. All righty. With that in mind, unless I don't hear severe objections. So with that, I will request that we approve the agenda with removing tab H, which is request approval of the compensation survey. So is there a motion to approve the agenda with that amendment?
So moved.
Commissioner Shanefield makes the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Lloyd seconds. Any further discussion, commissioners? No further discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Commissioner Johnson.
I didn't get a chance to vote. I vote against removing it.
Okay, Commissioner Johnson, let it show that you vote against, so it'd be a nay vote. So we have 4 yeses and nays, and motion still carries. So moving forward, next order of business is approval of the minutes for November 17th, 2020. Commissioners, what's your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Shanefield?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
We have a motion to approve the minutes as presented. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Smith. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same
Aye.
sign. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Commissioners. Next agenda item is tab B, which is acceptance of the bills. Commissioners, what's your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Lloyd.
I'd like to move for the acceptance of the bills, the approval of the county vouchers warrants, and the approval of the abates and rebates.
We have a motion by Commissioner Lloyd to approve the bills. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Commissioner Johnson. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next up on our agenda is county residents' concerns. So right now, we'll open the floor for county residents' concern. I would ask Tim that you have anything, we can read it at this time. If not, we'll wait. Thank you. Anything, Tim?
Oh, there's a,
Tim, you broke off.
okay. I have one public comment that came in via email.
Very good. Would you mind reading it while we're waiting, please?
Okay, so this came from Alan Rivera in regard to the county attorney. He says, what gives the county attorney the right to declare he will not prosecute a public health order of mask mandates? He should not prosecute speeding as limits. Should not prosecute speeding as limits are there to protect the public safety and health. He should not prosecute folks for smoking in public places, as it's a public health and safety issue. There are a lot of regulations in place to protect public health. This man's personal feelings about are irrelevant. Leading scientists and doctors are recommending masks to prevent the spread. This is a directive from the elected commissioners. I am not a litigious person, but will challenge this. County attorney will contribute to our citizens passing away before their time. Who does he work for? Please explain what gives him the right to question people like Anthony Fauci, who is the leading scientist in the US. He states masks will save lives. So,
Is that all?
that's it.
All right. Thank you, Tim, for reading that. Anything else so far, Tim?
No, nothing else.
All right. I'll kind of watch my computer clock, and when we hit 8:40, if you don't have anything, we'll move forward. Pretty quiet out there. One more minute, Tim. And as we proceed forward, we'll be ahead of agenda time. Not that lucky usually.
That'll be weird.
Oh. And to all of you, happy belated Thanksgiving.
And to you too.
Okay, anything else, Tim? With that, no further requests. I'll close the floor for public comment and we'll move on with our agenda. And next up will be commissioner comments and reports. Commissioner Smith, you have the floor first, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's, while it appears to be quiet, there has been a lot going on behind the scenes. Of course, when we have a meeting this early in the month on the 1st, I have my hospital board meeting tomorrow and my airport board meeting to follow. So not a ton to report that hasn't been reported previously. I do continue to do work on my projects with ambulance and with the abandoned vehicle lots. And from what I understand, we're making progress there. So in reality, I have not a lot to report, but the work is going on, and appreciate the work of many who are doing things behind the scenes and maybe don't get to report in a setting like this, but there are a lot of people working on a lot of different things, and I appreciate those folks. So with that, I think I will keep my comments short and say thank you.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. Any questions for Commissioner Smith? With none, up next is Commissioner Shanefield. Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning. So I'll start with grants. Most of Christina's time is being targeted towards working with all the departments and all the component units who receive the coronavirus relief grant funds so that they can get the reimbursement submitted by December 11th. So that's just right around the corner, and there was a very short time frame in getting all of those funds spent. So Christina will also be attending the SLIB meeting scheduled this Thursday and Friday. There are 164 coronavirus relief grant applications that are being reviewed in the final round, including ours. And all of the county's coronavirus relief grant agreements will have to be ratified in January due to the time sensitivity of the situation. She's going to provide us with a detailed presentation about all of the county projects, the grant compliance, and ensuring that we, kind of stay on top of what she's been working on this whole time. The museum, their visitation has slowed down a little bit due to tourism in Sweetwater County slowing down. Tis the season. The museum is stocked up with holiday gifts, and they also just partnered with the Green River Chamber of Commerce Holiday Business Showcase, which was pretty successful from my understanding. They're really working on focusing on their online presence for the community education and outreach. And they're also offering some do-it-yourself education kits and outreach materials. They let me know that there's going to be some holiday craft kits that will be available later this week for people to come pick up. So that's a good thing. They're also preparing for an off-site exhibit on the history of the county fair, which is going to be displayed at the community center in Farson. When I went out to Farson for their meeting, they requested maybe that the museum do something. And so they've jumped on it. I guess, and this is something that I learned, but our very own Sweetwater County Fair actually began in Farson, Eden Valley, as the Harvest Home Day in 1914. And so they're going to do an exhibit that's got the photos of the fair over time, some prize with ribbons, awards, and things like that. So that's going to be exciting when it gets going. SEDC, Kayla just got the press release approved for a new business education series that they're going to be putting on. I'm just going to read a small part of it. It's going to be out in the news as well. So SEDC is pleased to announce that they're collaborating with Western Wyoming Community College and Beach Creative Group to provide a free virtual business education series for our Sweetwater County businesses starting January 12th, 2020. This is going to be very exciting, and I'm excited to hear a little bit more about that. We have Kayla up on our agenda as well. So we also are scheduled to have a meeting with the firm working on the Middle Baxter Road project to present the report to the SEDC board on Friday of this week. And so that's been much awaited for many years. So we're very excited to see the written report. We had a great presentation outlining their plans. I think it was last week. Golden Hour Senior Center, October meal numbers have been turned in, and so they were open to serve meals for 21 days and served 3,807 meals. Only 75 of those meals were served in-house, and the rest were delivery or curbside pickup meals. So Jackie Grubb is concerned about running out of funding for these curbside pickup meals and the home delivery meals. They still have funds available for the in-house meals, but that's not what the seniors are currently needing. So she's actively working on finding additional funding to ensure that they don't run out of funds for this. She said that this was the first time that they've ever come close to running out of these funds. And so she's concerned about that. They're doing a great job of planning some holiday meals and some small in-person things to keep the seniors in our community getting out as much as they can while still remaining safe. I feel like we had a really good strategic planning workshop after our last meeting, and Commissioner Lloyd and I have been discussing doing some additional education for all of our department heads and elected officials around strategic planning so that we can all be on the same page and make sure that everybody's including the same items in their planning. I also had a meeting with Commissioner Lloyd and Bonnie and John DeLeon. We started looking at the budget and where we can cut down, and then some different options for us for the upcoming fiscal year. So I think that's everything. If anyone has any questions.
Thank you, Commissioner Shanefield. Any questions for Commissioner Shanefield? No questions. Up next, Commissioner Lloyd.
Thank you. Just like everyone else, have had a quiet time due to the holidays after the board meeting. I did have a Southwest Counseling board meeting, and we did talk a little bit because that came right after the governor's announcement of more cuts, and still not sure how the first set of cuts really didn't really have a lot of impact on Southwest Counseling. There were cuts, but they were minor. We're not sure how this one will roll out, but Linda felt the board and Director Akers felt comfortable that they could move forward and still provide quality services in a changing environment. So kudos to them and their board. The events complex did cancel their board meeting. And then I had already reported on my other boards for the month. With that being said, have met with various department heads and elected officials over the last couple of weeks, discussing issues, looking at options and concepts. Want to just report we have sent out strategic planning questionnaires to directors, component agencies, and elected officials, and those are starting to come in some of our subgroups, looking specifically at mission and the liaison system, and then also doing some interdepartmental planning between split groups of department heads, directors, and elected officials. Of some of those meetings have already started, so I feel like we're on a good move in going that way, and we will meet again next meeting. We decided we would meet after the next meeting, and we'll come up with a time after we see what the agenda looks like. But I do feel like we're moving forward in that process. I do urge the community. We are working with the University of Wyoming Small Business Center to create a survey to get constituent information and input, which is moving super slow because of COVID and some of the stuff going on at the college and not having as many students on campus and those things. So we are working on that. But if anybody in the community have input, things ideas, directions, what you feel is important to the county. We'd like to hear that. I really feel some of those, hearing from the constituents of what you see as the important services of the county will help lead us to figure out some of the directions we want to go in. But I do appreciate everyone for helping out with that, specifically Gene Legursky, Donna Lee Boback, and Jason Grubb for taking leadership of some of those subcommittees, and also Cindy Lane for taking leadership of a committee. So I just really thank those people for helping out also. And the only other thing I really have to say is I've always been impressed and loved living in Sweetwater County for the last 15, 16 years, based upon how this community comes together. And, we're in some trying times economically for a lot of folks. Unemployment's up. People are facing job loss. And during the Thanksgiving time, it just really stuck out to me. The generosity of a lot of people as you would go through and look at different things going on and seeing families putting out there, hey, if anyone needs a Thanksgiving dinner, we'll buy you one. 307 Auto, I think, put out like 300 Thanksgiving baskets. I met with the food bank and Kathy a couple weeks ago about how things were going there. And at the Thanksgiving give out for Green Reverse Food Bank, they gave out over 170 food boxes that day. And when I talked to her, it was right before the Tuesday give out for Rock Springs, but they were expecting to give out around 450 food boxes. And so I think we should really celebrate during these difficult times of really a lot of division, some of the good things out there and the generosity of this community to support each other. And for all, you can't name everyone, but for those that I did name that has stuck out, I just appreciate everyone that's made efforts to support your neighbor and make this a great community over the last couple of weeks. And with that, that's all I have, Chairman Wendling.
Thank you, Commissioner Lloyd. Any questions for Commissioner Lloyd, commissioners? No questions. Up next, Commissioner Johnson. Good morning.
Morning, Doc. Thank you. First, I have the Public Works Department report for December 1st. Buildings, we will be replacing the hot water boiler in the detention center next week. The County Commissioners Boardroom COVID update is progressing, and we will hit some major milestones in the coming week. The Commissioner's seating area will be delivered at the end of the week, and the AV contractor will show up next week to install the AV equipment. Engineering, we are working on our road inventory updates and also reviewing the design options for the North Rock Springs Road upgrade project. Road and Bridge, crews are continuing to work on culverts, traffic signage, and delineators. Custodial, the new electronic sprayer backpacks have worked out very well and cut down on our sanitizing time by more than half. That's Gene's report. Things are going well for Gene. I talked to him personally this morning, and I think everything's going well in his area. Next, the CLG meeting that was scheduled for this month was postponed, and there will be another meeting, obviously, early in December. And the other items that I've had contact with is the Greater Little Mountain Coalition issues there I've discussed. There may be a meeting later this month, which I will attend. And then I've had contact with the liaisons that I have, and like Jeff, and I don't have that much to report. So that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Any questions for Commissioner Johnson? Okay, then that leaves.
One comment, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Commissioner Smith.
Certainly appreciate Mr. Legursky's report from Road and Bridge. It's excellent as always, except like many of the books I read nowadays, I missed the pictures. There were no pictures in this one, and I always look forward to some photos, and makes my reading a little bit easier if there's some pages that have pictures on them. So good report, still a little disappointed, no photos, but I'm sure he'll get back in the groove.
There you go. All right, thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Mr. Johnson.
I will reprimand Mr. Legursky for failing to provide us with entertainment with pictures. And I assure you, next report, we will have pictures.
Thank you. I always enjoy looking at a comic book too. Anyhow, thank you.
Commissioner Johnson, I would be careful on how much I indulge Commissioner Smith. He may ask for scratch and sniff the next meeting.
All righty.
I understand.
Okay, I'm gonna stop this before it slides way, way down the hill. So
Lauren had something to say, I'm sure.
she does, but she understands where the slippery slope is. Oh, funny, you guys. All right, for myself, again, too, with the holidays now, I don't have that much to report. I do know, want to share with you, Conservation District in their meeting this week had some things planned, and I think with the, what's going on with the orders dealing with COVID and the spiked increase in cases, Conservation District, which that was scheduled to be a face-to-face meeting, have decided that they will put off any part of that, the workshop and everything, and not have the face-to-face and set those topics off to another date and that. So they've gone back to phone-in meeting for this week. So that part of it's been canceled. Also been listening with the WCCA, and last night's meeting, of course, is right in line with what Lauren said. Whole lot of SLID board grant requests coming up, also deadlines and those types of things. And I still sense, and Lauren can answer this, but I still sense from the state standpoint, there could be a pretty good pocket of money going back to the feds from the state of Wyoming, and that type of thing, which we'll just see how all that pans out and that type of thing. For the rest of us, again, this week is the WCCA winter conference, and for that, for commissioners, that will be all on Zoom. So you may want to get on with WCCA and register and that type of thing. Probably besides the business for the WCCA coming up, they'll also have election of officers. Troy Thompson will step down as president. So the nominations for president is Jim Willicks. And of course, vice president will be Bill Novotny. Jim Willicks is out of Converse County. He's been the vice chairman for the last couple of years. Bill Novotny is out of, I believe, Johnson County. I think I have that right. And he's been the secretary treasurer for the last couple of years. And then, of course, there are 3 nominations for the secretary treasurer, and that is out of Teton County, Natalia Maker, I believe. And then also from Carbon County is Commissioner Espy. And then also out of Campbell County is Commissioner Bell, and that type of thing. So that they have it set up to where not only will you participate with one piece of technology or computer probably for the meeting, but for the voting part, you're going to need your phone and stuff in order to do the voting. So Jeremiah's getting that stuff set up. So just heads up for this week, probably starting at, I'm not sure, you'll have to check the schedule. I saw it yesterday. So it's starting at noon on one day and ending by noon the second day. So check your emails, please. Sally also has the information, I believe. So that's probably the main thing, is the ongoing with the COVID, the ongoing with the orders. I know the governor will be out on December 4th with this week with updating orders, whether that's to loosen them or tighten them and that type of thing. So we'll just have to wait and see how that all shakes out. Outside of that, one other announcement, Commissioner Johnson, Ms. Regano's husband in Bear Oil, do you recall his first name?
No, I don't. I'm sorry, Doc.
Okay, and I can't either. Any other day I can remember. But anyhow, I think it's important for us to know that condolences out to Mayor Regano, as just prior to our last meeting, which I didn't know about till afterwards, her husband passed away and that type of thing. And he's been a big part of that community in Bear Oil. So I want to just from this commission send out condolences to the mayor and her family in Bear Oil. Mayor Sue Regano for the loss of her husband. So outside of that, commissioners, I'll stand for any questions.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Johnson.
I've been thinking about a possibility, and I would run that through I believe, with the appropriate channel might be, if anybody thinks it's a good idea, is that I think the governor, there's only 600,000 people in the state of Wyoming. And as this vaccine becomes available, I think the idea I have is for the governor to go forward and propose that the state of Wyoming become a test site for the vaccine, because it would only take 600,000, depending on which one of them you use, or 1.2 million, and you could vaccinate the entire state of Wyoming. And that would be a good test for the nation. You couldn't do that in New York, and you couldn't do it in California, but you could do it in Wyoming or one of the other less populated states. So that's just a thought I have. And if you would
Go ahead.
just a second, Sally straightening me out.
Good, Sally. Glad.
We all need Sally, that's for sure. But anyway, I think that might be something the governor should consider, especially since he's now in the news, since he's got COVID. It would be relatively speaking easy to do. And it's just a thought I had, and I think that depending on how people think about that, but those are my thoughts. The other last thought I have is that, on Wamsutter or Burial, excuse me. The Reganos have been a key part of Burial ever since I've been a commissioner. She's been great, and he's been great. And so in his passing, I didn't know about that either. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I wasn't on it, but the times I've been out there, everything you're saying is exactly right. That her husband has been a big part of that, as she has, and that type of thing. It'll be interesting to see what happens when she no longer chooses to run for office. They move forward. So, but anyhow, we'll keep our prayers for her and her family. Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Any other questions, commissioners? Okay, we are approximately 40 minutes ahead of schedule. So let's take a break for 25 of those. Or is that too long, commissioners?
Well, that sounds good to me.
Let's do 25 and be back here at 9:25, and then we'll get move through our agenda and go from there. All right, Tim, we'll take a break. Thank you, everyone. Please meet. Okay, Tim. I'd like to at this time call the meeting back to order of County Commissioners for today and working through our agenda items. First up on our agenda is the report of outstanding county warrants. And here to present that is Mr. Rob Slaughter, our county treasurer. Good morning, Rob. I'm looking for
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, how are you today?
Wonderful. Thank you, Rob, for joining us.
You bet.
Floor is yours, friend.
All right. Annually, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, my office has the responsibility for canceling all warrants which have been outstanding for 12 months or longer. We do that at the first meeting of the commission in December every year. So I have provided you that list for this year. There were 7 warrants which we are canceling at this point in time. The total amount of that is $430.11. My responsibility is to inform you of this once I have done that. Your responsibility then is to make sure that this is entered into the minutes of this meeting. And basically that's all that needs to be done with this. So there doesn't need to be an action taken. It just needs to be referenced to you from me. And once again, it needs to be in the minutes. So.
Okay, thank you, Rob. Commissioners, any questions for Mr. Slaughter?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Johnson.
Rob, refresh my memory. Is there an attempt made to contact these people during the past year, for example?
Yeah, we generally try and contact all of these people. Commissioner Johnson, for some reason, some of them just do not pay, they do not cash these warrants. There is a provision that if once this is published, someone sees that within the next 5 years, if they request it, we would replace that with a new warrant for this. So there's a provision for that also. So that's another notice that we try and do with respect to this. And that, I think that's the reason that this needs to be published in the minutes, is another opportunity for people to see that these are out there.
The other is just a minor point, Rob. You said 7, there's only 5 on there, but the numbers add up to the 43011.
I meant to say 5. If I said 7, I was mistaken. So.
Thank you, Rob.
Just want you to know, Rob, I pay attention to what you say.
Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Any other questions, Commissioner Johnson?
Oh, I'm fine.
All right, commissioners, other commissioners, any questions for Mr. Slaughter? With that, I would ask that please make sure the minutes reflect that Mr. Slaughter has notified us of the outstanding warrants per Wyoming State Statute 18-4-106. With that being said, Rob, or Treasurer, anything else we need to adjust?
I don't think so. Thank you very much. You guys have a great day.
Thank you for joining us, and you have a great day, and have a Merry Christmas.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks. Okay, Commissioners, moving on to tab D, we have the fiscal year 2021 annual operating and financial plan between Sweetwater County and the USDA Forest Service, Ashley National Forest. And with us to present that today is our Sheriff, Sheriff Grossnickel. Good morning, Sheriff.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners.
Thank you for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be here.
All right, the floor is yours, sir.
What this is the annual contract that we have with the Forest Service that allows our deputies to patrol the Flaming Gorge during the summertime. That's our Marine Patrol and Land Patrol in the Ashley National Forest. the Forest Service gives us those extra funds because we all know they only have one law enforcement officer for that area. So they give us the $6,000 that allows us to pay our deputies overtime to go down there for the enforcement action.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Sheriff. Commissioners, any questions for Sheriff Grossnickel?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Smith?
Sheriff, is it only during the summer? Do we do anything down? And obviously there's fewer people down there, but if you had reason, would you head down there in February?
We absolutely do. We have patrols down there as necessary, and even when we have downtime around the populated areas, we do enforcement down there. This is for specific targeted enforcement, such as 4th of July, Memorial Day, Labor Day, the times that we know that there's going to be a large amount of population down there, but we do have patrols other times of the year down there.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioners, any other questions for Commissioner Gross or for Sheriff Grossnickel?
Just one, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Johnson?
There's a new forest supervisor down there. This Susan Eichhoff is new down there. Is there any change in this agreement from previous years?
No, the agreement's the same. There is talk possibly the following year that Sweetwater County will be getting more funding because we're one agency that actually goes down and does the patrol. There's some entities that haven't used their money even though they've requested it. So in the future, there is a possibility that we will be getting more funding to do those patrols.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Sheriff Grossnickel. Commissioners, any other questions? With no further questions, Commissioners, what's your pleasure with the operating and financial plan and authorizing the chairman to sign?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Johnson?
I'd make a motion that we approve the Cooperative Law Enforcement Annual Operating Plan and Financial Plan between the County of Sweetwater and the USDA Forest Service, Ashley National Forest, and authorize the chairman to sign said document.
We have a motion to approve and authorize the chairman to sign by Commissioner Johnson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Shanefield. Any further discussion, Commissioners? No further discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Sheriff. Thank you for joining us, and please be certain you stay safe.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners.
Thank you. Okay, moving on. Our next order of business is with Ms. McDonald, SEDC, regarding Rocky Mountain Power request letter for funding for a new website for SEDC. And joining us today is Ms. McDonald with SEDC, as well as Eric Bingham from Planning and Zoning. Good morning. Can't hear you. You're muted. Still muted. Still muted, Kayla. Come on. Kayla,
You have to take over there, Eric.
Yeah, Eric, are you there? Eric, you're muted.
Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. I see Kayla is
Okay.
reconnecting, but
Oh, there she is.
Is that better? Can you hear me?
that's very much. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Sorry.
And Kayla and Eric, I know you have members of SEDC on with you as well. Would you please take a moment and introduce them and their role, please?
Sure. So we have with us Green River City Administrator Reed Clevenger and City of Rock Springs Mayor Tim Como, as well as Commissioner Lauren Schoenfeld as well with us. And then Eric and I So we're here today. Basically, this letter is self-explanatory. We wrote a letter to Rocky Mountain Power. We're basically waiting for approval from you guys just to move this forward to submit it. Sorry, Marty's on too. I didn't see him. So Marty Carollo as well. So this letter for us is a letter to request some funding from the coal impacted communities funding that Rocky Mountain Power has available for economic development related projects. For us, this funding will help with a marketing plan and recruitment efforts for SCDC, as well as a website. Currently, we do not have a website. We have a landing page here on the county's website. And so this will also help us with some rebranding. We are working with a company out of Cheyenne. So this is local in Wyoming. They are West Edge Collective, and they have put together a proposal for us. We've researched a couple other companies, and they've all come in too high. And this group actually is where we're at as far as a budget. And so we're requesting $10,000 to move this project forward.
Thank you, Kayla. And well, I'd like to welcome the individuals from SCDC, Mayor Como, Reed from City of Green River, as well as Marty Carollo, who's a board member, and of course, Eric, you're part of that board, and so is Lauren and that. So I think that's everybody. So with that in mind, commissioners, I'll open the floor up to questions.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Johnson.
has this letter gone out?
No, it hasn't. Nope, this is already sent to our 2 cities. It has not made it to Rocky Mountain Power yet.
I take exception to one sentence that's in here. And that is, please be assured that the SCDC will continue to assist Rocky Mountain Power through the future transition of the Jim Bridger Power Plant and the coal mine, and provide available tools to support that transition. We've testified in front of the Public Service Commission that we're opposed to what Rocky Mountain Power plans to do with primarily the power plant, because however it goes the power plant goes the coal mine. But that is the shutting down of those units. We've opposed to that because of the impact that's going to have on this, not only the Sweetwater County, but primarily the city of Rock Springs. And I think that that paragraph should be, I support what you're doing, but that paragraph is inconsistent with what we've been on record with relative to the Public Service Commission.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. SCDC?
So we can definitely take that out. I'll talk to the group. I'm sure everybody will be on board with that as well.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Commissioner Shanefield.
I would suggest amending that sentence to assisting our businesses through the transition instead of assisting Rocky Mountain Power, because that's what we're really trying to do, is we're trying to help the transition for all of our businesses and our local employees as well.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Commissioner Johnson.
That's an excellent suggestion, and that's consistent with what we've said with the loss of 1,300 jobs in Sweetwater County. So I think that's a good suggestion.
All righty. So you have that amended sentence, Kayla?
I do, thank you.
Yeah, make sure if you need the wording for it, you talk with Commissioner Shanefield. Commissioner Johnson, do you need to see that before it goes out?
And I think Lauren can handle that.
Very good, thank you. All right, any other questions for SCDC? With no further questions, commissioners, what's your pleasure here?
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead, Commissioner Shanefield.
I would like to make a motion that we approve this letter amended as discussed and get it sent to Rocky Mountain Power.
Would you like the chairman to sign it?
I don't believe there's a spot for you to sign it, but yes, if the chairman would like to sign it, authorize the chairman to sign.
I thought when I looked at it there, no, you're exactly right. I'm one line down.
There's also the,
No authorized signature by the chairman. Thank you for that catch. All right, so we have a motion to approve the letter with the amendments, I believe. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Commissioner Johnson. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Any other questions for SCDC commissioners while we have them here? Let's not let them off the hook. With no questions, I would just like to say to Eric and Kayla and Mayor Como, Mr. Carollo, and Mr. Clevenger for Green River, and of course, the commissioners that are involved, hearing good things of SCDC as we move forward. I'm excited for the direction they're heading since it's come under the county, and I'm excited for what's occurring. So I want to just thank you for your hard work, Marty, Tim, Kayla, and Reed, and hope we can continue making this a viable partnership. Thank you for everything you guys do, and Lauren, your leadership, and Eric, thank you.
Thank
Anything
you.
else? Anything else for SCDC commissioners? All right, with that, we will move on with our agenda, and thanks for joining us, everyone. Next up will be the tab F, which is the exterior electronic message board signage for 330 Broadway Street, and I believe that would be the health building in Rock Springs. And for that agenda item, we have Mr. Legursky and Ms. Zankinella from the Public Health. Good morning, Rhonda. You're muted, Rhonda.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning, and good morning. Good morning, Gene.
Morning.
All right, so the floor is yours, Gene.
So what you guys have before you is two applications that you go to the city of Rock Springs, and what they're for is two roughly 4x8 electronic message board signs. The public health would like to display on the HHS building. One will go above the marquee on Broadway, and the other one will go on the side of the marquee on B Street. And this has to move through the city. It's a conditional use permit and a sign application. It's a staff approval, but they do have to give 10 days for neighbor notifications and comments.
Okay.
And Rhonda, if you'd like to add anything on where you're getting the money from or anything, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say,
It's the CARES Act funding. It's that CARES Act funding for COVID. It's COVID money.
So this won't cost us or anything. Electricity is included in there. There's a 5-year maintenance on the signs that is included in the price and everything. They'll come up and install them and do everything for us.
Okay, very good. Anything else to add, Rhonda?
No, I do think that it would be really great because we can put prevention and health messages out there, our clinics, ours, even other people in the building could use it, veterans, the hospice, when they have their fundraisers. So I think that it would be good for the whole building, not just us.
Very good. Thank you very much. Commissioners, this time I'll open up the floor for any questions regarding this agenda item.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yeah, I think this one that's on the west side is just a great idea. You'll be able to see that as you come over the overpass. And my question is, the 4x8 sounds like that's a great size for it. But Gene, are they both the same size? And is it large enough, for example, on that west side? Because that could actually be larger. But just a question.
They're both the same size, Mr. Chairman. It could probably be larger. But I don't know if off of A Street, you're gonna have to have good eyesight, unlike mine, to be able to see it probably, to limit, the number. If you actually look at it, a 4x8 sign, you'll have 3 1-foot messages on there. So they're pretty good size. I don't know, without seeing, you can see the signs on the HHS building from A Street, and those are 1 foot tall also. But with them moving, it's hard to say.
I think it's a great idea. Surely can support that.
Great. Thank you. Commissioner Shanefield, you had a question?
Mr. Chairman, no question. I just wanted to tell Rhonda, thank you for all of your hard work. I know you guys are overwhelmed and you're doing a great job.
Thank you. It has been really busy, very busy.
Agreed, and thank you very much, Rhonda. So,
Mr. Chairman,
go ahead, Commissioner Smith.
After criticizing earlier with no pictures, I appreciate the many pictures associated with this presentation. So very clear. Thank you.
Very, very well-written comic book. Thank you. So anyhow, any other questions, commissioners? What's your pleasure here?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Johnson?
I make a motion to approve the request as stated.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the request as stated for the electronic messenger board signage for 333 Broadway and authorize the chairman to sign. Is that correct, Commissioner Johnson?
That's absolutely correct.
All right, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Shanefield. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Well, good luck. I hope you can meet all the deadlines because they're very, very coming
Me
quickly.
too. It'll be good.
Right.
We can do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your hard work. Pass it on, Rhonda, to the other ladies. Thank you. Moving forward, the next up will be tab G, which is a request for approval of resolution for holiday schedule. Basically, it's a work schedule for our employees over the holidays, primarily, of course, Christmas and New Year's. So with us today to present that is Ms. Smith, Ashley Smith out of HR. Good morning, Ashley.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners.
Thank you. The floor is yours, young lady.
Wonderful. So 2020 has been a rough year. So we are hoping to help employees out and kind of replicate what we did last year. So we typically have Christmas Day and New Year's Day off already. With those days falling on Fridays, we were hoping to be, hoping to have the eves of both days off for employees to spend time with their family and kind of have a 4-day weekend. And if they're able to do something by Zoom or something like that, this allows plenty of time to kind of meet with all of their family members. So in 2018, Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve both fell on Mondays. So we did those as just straight holidays. Last year we mixed it up and had Christmas Eve, which was a Tuesday, had that as a holiday, but on New Year's Eve, we left the county offices open. And if people did work, they used that as a holiday pay, or they got a floating holiday to be used by the end of March. And then if they did not work, they use that as a holiday pay. So we're hoping to do the same thing for 2020.
Okay, commissioners, any questions? Anybody? So let me back up for a minute, Ashley. So we'd use Christmas Eve as a paid 8-hour holiday.
Yes.
And then New Year's Eve would be what? Explain that, break that down for me.
Yeah, New Year's Eve would be, all of the county offices would remain open since the end of the year, people are still able to come in, pay their tags, get everything ready for the start of the new year. So the people that would work, they would get a floating holiday to compensate them to have that time so that they worked when everybody else could have it off. And then the people who did take it off, they would use that as a holiday pay.
All right, so I guess the point I was getting to is there's no additional cost to the county for this?
No.
Okay, very good. Very good. Thank you very much. That answers my questions. Other commissioners, other questions? Any statements?
Looks reasonable and consistent with what we've done in the past.
Agreed. Okay, so Roy, Commissioner Lloyd.
And I was going to say, during difficult times, and as Ashley said, 2020 hasn't been most people's favorite year and it's been really rough and economically a disaster for a lot of folks. I think it's not a great, huge token, but this small token is really well needed for what really is an amazing staff and a group of employees at the county, and I think it's well deserved.
Okay, thank you, Roy. Any other discussion, commissioners? Ashley, nice job of presenting that. What's your desire? What's your pleasure, commissioners?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Smith.
I move that we approve resolution 20-12-CC-01, which is the authorization of additional official holidays for county employees for the year 2020. And I authorize all of us to sign.
Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Smith that authorize all of us to sign. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Last great act, right? All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Good job, commissioners. Our staff in the county deserve this, and it's always been received very well and appreciated. So good job, commissioners. With that, we did remove tab H. So then we go to other. Is there anything for the good of the order, commissioners? Okay, with that.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Commissioner Lloyd.
Hey, I did hit this in my liaison comments, but just a reminder that we will do a 1 hour after the estimated end of the commission meeting, we will do a strategic planning meeting as scheduled after the next board meeting on the 15th.
Very good. Thank you, Commissioner Lloyd. Appreciate the notification. So we want to make sure that Sally gets that listed when we do our public notice. Thank you. Anything else, commissioners, for the good of the order? With that, we'll go into executive session. And Tim will need for executive session probably Mr. De Leon and Mike Mornasium from the fire department, as well as Marty Carollo, or not Marty Carollo, but Marty Dernovich from purchasing. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session.
That's so moved.
We have a motion by Commissioner Lloyd. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Shanefield. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Commissioners, we just had a break. Motion carries, but we just had a break. Do you wish to take another 5 or 10 minutes, or do you wish to start executive session right away?